Heyo! Torrance's other big soccer rivalry takes center stage with the ladies of South and Torrance High getting after it. Can a mid-January game decide the Pioneer League Championship just 1 week into league play? And we warned you, Paul Nataki was going to bring the noise when he took over the Tartars Hoops program. The Crimson Faithful rally around their dude, their squad, and create a little early season hype of their own. Plus, things at Elko getting a little heated. Could their losing streak stretch to double digits, or do they iron out the kinks behind closed doors? A little drama, a little excitement, and plenty of hype on the South Bay sports scene. It's all coming up now on the Sports Desk. Hey there, Torrance. Nice to see you here on another week on the Sports Desk. I'm your host, Wan Hernandez. We're going to kick off this week the same way South and Torrance's girls soccer squads kicked off their Pioneer League matchups, with a bang against each other. Combined, they've taken 6 of the previous 7 Pioneer League championships. So while we're not in the business of making predictions here on the Sports Desk, we have caught on that when the Tartars and the Spartans take to the pitch, we should probably pay attention, because a league title might be on the line or something, even if we are only a week out of the preseason schedule.
The Spartans versus the Tartars, game 1 of a 2-game showdown. You could tell both teams knew exactly how crucial this game was in order to possibly walk away with the Pioneer League crown this year. The Spartans were down 1 goal early on, but Torrance got to meet freshman Claire Grauwinkle from South, who has really been a pleasant surprise for the Spartans this year.
First half, we didn't really play that great, but then when Claire scored, we were just all like, we're back in it, we can do this. And I think that motivation of Claire scoring was just like, we can do this now. So it was a great feeling. I'll always remember it.
Honestly, there's no better feeling than as you're running back to the half after your score. So it's one of the best feelings, honestly.
And one of the best feelings that the Spartan squad got to experience wasn't quite as great for the Tartars.
That has been a lot of our games recently. We dominate, but we can't put it in the back of the net. That is definitely something that we'll be focusing on in our practice, and we're going to take it more seriously because that is something that needs to get done. It was one of the most frustrating games I've played at Torrance High in a very long time since my freshman year here. So we can make sure that it's not going to happen again, or we can at least try to.
Although Torrance was frustrated that they weren't able to find the back of the net a couple more times, they had some really great chances that in the end, you sometimes just have to tip your hat off to the goalkeeper.
I can't score up there. The only thing that I can do is protect my goal, and I feel like I do that every game, and I come out and I just say this is my job and I'm going to do it for my team. So every game I just come out, just say this is my job and I got to do it.
Speaking of jobs, it's not always easy knowing your role as a freshman, something Claire Grauwinkle is learning very quickly and doing so with great passion.
I expected not to play too much, honestly. I mean, I'm a freshman coming into a really huge game, so that was a huge shock to be starting both halves. I knew it was going to be a tough game, but I never expect the rivalry to be still that strong against the two teams. I just kept looking at the light at the tunnel and I just really wanted to win.
From the sounds of it, the desire to win started way before that 3 p.m. kickoff.
Today, I'd been mentally preparing it for all day. I'm a senior. Everyone before us always beat Torrance. We had to beat Torrance. This is our rivals. We just have to. And the whole day, everyone was just going around school saying, Torrance game, we're ready. And the whole day, we were all so excited and pumped up to play Torrance.
Now that Game 1 is out of the way, both teams will look to prepare for the game that, if all goes as it should, will be the deciding factor for who will be this year's Pioneer League champ.
I think our mindset is going to have to be, we just got to play again. We just got to go hard again, keep going hard. They go hard every time we play them. They're always a good, tough competition. So I think just going hard every time against them, we'll come out with a good outcome.
We are so pumped up. That's the game we'll be looking for the rest of the league. That's what determines who's going to be first, who's going to be second. It happens every year, and that we're really going to be pushing so we can win because it's definitely needed.
They're going to come out hard, but hopefully we'll come out harder.
Torrance may be down, but they're not out. The Tartars will host the Spartans at the end of January, and you better believe we're going to be on the sidelines of that one. Something tells me the home team might be seeking a little revenge that night, and we're looking forward to it. From South High School, I'm Haley Outen for the Sports Desk.
Thanks for that, Haley. Circling back on that theme that keeps popping up between South and Torrance on the pitch, You wonder why these girls talk about their two matchups as the biggest games of their season? Maybe because it is. Just a brief history and some highlights from most of the last decade between these schools. Last season, we saw the Spartans run undefeated until their loss in the CIF semis. Meanwhile, Torrance's only two losses of the regular season were to South. Year before that, neither team lost. They beat everybody else up and played to draws in their two regular season matches, resulting in a co-championship. In fact, the end of the 2009 season, the only time your Pioneer League champion hasn't come out of this rivalry and their two regular season meetings. Also making headlines and an expected impact on the rest of this season, after a year and a half out of a Spartan uni, forward Kaylin Camerly is returning to the South lineup. Camerly scored 19 goals 2 seasons ago as a freshman before missing her entire sophomore season from a dislocated knee. Then this season, dislocating her knee again in a club practice right before taking to the field with her classmates at South. So the South Spartans stack their lineup even more as the Pioneer League race begins to heat up here in Torrance. Meanwhile, everybody across the South Bay going to be playing catch-up this week now as things were put on hold Friday following the Colby fire in Glendora. Torrance Unified and Palos Verdes Unified School Districts both canceled all local sporting events due to poor air quality, while some districts throughout Los Angeles only canceled their outdoor contests. The makeups for these games are targeted for January 27th, so less than a week away now before things are back on track, but of course that could vary sport by sport and school by school. It didn't, however, put the kibosh on things for the West Warriors wrestling program as they hit the road over the weekend to Temecula. Yoshi Funakoshi ranked 11th in California in his 126-pound weight class, placed 6th at the Battle for the Belt wrestling tournament. He topped Anthony Hernandez from Vacaville, the number 5 ranking in California, by a 5-0 margin, and then took down another ranked wrestler, Jacob Donato of James Logan. Overall, the Warriors placed 50th out of 72 teams in what Coach Brian Notch calls one of the toughest wrestling tourneys in the country. Okay, everybody, gonna give you a second to run to the fridge, but make it quick. When we come back, it's mayhem on the hardwood. In Seattle, they like to brag about the 12th man, but here in the South Bay, we don't need no crazy stadium acoustics and engineering shenanigans to bring the noise. You ready?
Hi, I'm Max Adler. I played Dave Karofsky on the TV series Glee. Growing up, I saw my mother and my grandmother struggle with facioscapulohumeral muscular dystrophy, or FSHD. FSHD is one of the most common muscular dystrophies. It attacks your face, shoulders, arms, and legs, leading to profound disability. The FSH Society is funding research that is bringing us closer to treatments and to a cure every day. You can help get us there faster. Learn how at fshsociety.org.
Going to school pregnant, riding the bus, that was hard. You just have all the stares and you have all the questions, and even little kids make you nervous just staring at you. When you get pregnant, all the stuff just goes through your mind. Abortion, adoption, keeping him. You're his mom. You're supposed to be the one taking care of him and raising him. But when you're 15 and pregnant, you can't do it without support. I wanted to give him a better life. When I found out I was pregnant, I don't know, just a light hit me in my heart, just saying adoption is what you need to do. I really have a simple dream. I just want to get my nursing career, get married, and have a family. When I get pregnant again, give them a better life. I'm Miranda, and I chose adoption.
Hey, welcome back to the Sports Desk. Now, if you don't live under a rock, you may already be sick of hearing about the 12th man headed to the Super Bowl. A blend of marketing savvy and fancy schmancy acoustic engineering that makes the home of the NFL's Seattle Seahawks so loud, no visiting team could ever possibly come out of CenturyLink Field alive. So Richard Sherman's dreadlocks and neon Nikes are headed to Super Bowl 48 by the process of elimination. Okay, that and having the best defense in the NFL. But the point is, all the hype would have you believe in the power of the home field advantage. Now, here in the South Bay, the Torrance Tartars don't have $1 billion budget to build a loud new arena, but they did invest in some foam swords and a couple terrible towels, and rumor has it, a little bit of extra credit on your science homework. I'm really not making that part up. All creating the newest, craziest, and rowdiest fan group in the southern section. And apparently, it's even pushing along that home court advantage theory, too.
At this time last year, this Torrance team was 4-13 and they were struggling to fill the seats in their gym. This year, it's a completely different story.
Last year was a real struggle, but this year we're more focused and ready to go.
I think our guys play a lot harder this year, and we just always we come out with intensity, and that's what we need. So that gets us going.
So last year we came out, we didn't really have a good record, and it was probably mostly because of the crowd. The crowd really amped us up. Like this year, we have a big crowd. We have towels, we have foam fingers or swords, and that really helps us a lot. The crowd is just amping us up for the game.
Not only is there a big difference in their record, but also in the crowd. One of Palnataki's goals this year was to bring some spirit to the Tartar Nation, and he did just that by creating the Maroon Monsoon.
It's basically our whole cheering section, our whole crowd, all our student body that are just joined up in this spirit club, and they go to events here and there, and they've been really dominant here in this gym, just their noise and just everything, their energy, and we just feed off their crowd. They're awesome. I love them.
Last year the crowd wasn't really into it, and this year we have a whole club that comes out and supports.
This year we have our club Maroon Monsoon here, so they're here at every home game and they're cheering us on loud, and so it's amazing.
The Maroon Monsoon is just one of the many positive things that Palnataki is doing at Torrance, and he hopes it is a tradition that will last.
He's on campus, a teacher, so he's helping and he's talking to the club advisor and telling them to come out, so it's good.
He set everything up. He got the Maroon Monsoon, the crowd out, and they're really helping us out a lot.
We hope that it continues and it stays, and it's a tradition that never ends. And so our kids love it. They're fired up every game, and it makes coaching so much easier because the kids are listening, they're attentive, they want to be out there, and just everybody's so excited. It's fun.
This gym was not only packed, but it was loud. And to add to that, the school handed out over 300 plus of these to the students, a foam sword and a rally towel in this big win against their rival, South High. This is a brand new team with a brand new atmosphere brought by Palnataki himself to the Tartar Nation. From Torrance, this is Valerie Ortega reporting for the Sports Desk.
Thanks for that, Valerie. The Spartans, Torrance's competition in that matchup, one of the teams affected by the Colby Fire postponements, put off their next game on the road at El Segundo Friday. So this week, everything and everybody should be back to the grind in the Pioneer League basketball scene. Going to be a while before we see any Torrance schools face-to-face, though. North, South, and Torrance all battling it out with Lawndale and El Segundo mostly. Then the chips will really start falling in the Pioneer League standings come early February. And speaking of standings, the girls on the pitch at Bishop Montgomery have plenty to consider right away in league. A busy preseason riddled with injuries presents its own challenges, so if that's not enough, why not throw in kicking off league by taking on the defending champs?
Bishop Montgomery opened league play with defending champions Bishop Amat. The Knights were very short-handed tonight, with 8 players out due to injuries, and a second-half run by the Lancers gave them the victory, 3-1.
Offensively, I think we did a good job. We could have got a couple more shots up, but it'll come because when players are exited from the lineup, a certain amount of chemistry loses. So we'll gain it back when everybody gets back, or we'll gain new chemistry with the players who we play with.
During preseason tournaments, a lot of games were back-to-back and injuries would happen. Since league officially started, the Knights are doing their best to play through these injuries and help their team.
You know, playing an entire soccer game can be tiring, so with every single player on the field basically having to play the entire game, it puts a strain on our play because not everyone is at their best.
We also changed our formation for this game, and we had one up top, which we haven't played all season, so that was kind of hard. But overall, we did our best having so many injured players, and we did what we needed to do.
Last year, right before season started, the team was left without a goalie, which forced Jillian Miles, who was then a freshman, into that position. It was a tough season, but she never gave up and came back a completely different player.
When I moved up as a freshman, I was very scared. I wasn't really prepared. It was kind of just a learning experience, and this year I felt more comfortable. I knew my players. We've learned a lot. The defense has helped me a lot, especially last year. So this year I felt more confident, and that's like the big key.
So this year, she's not starting fresh. She's familiar with our girls. She's kind of used to our system, so she looks more comfortable in it. But as far as her individually, I think she just took a stand, put her foot down, and said, "You're not scoring all these goals on us anymore."
League just started. The team has so much time to improve from mistakes and recover from injuries. A lot of players are forced to play out of position or through some pain. But once the chemistry is reconstructed, the Knights will be a hard team to handle.
what do we want to do as a team and what are we trying to accomplish. And that's that chemistry that we're still developing, because with so many injuries, people are in and out of the lineups. But when we have a whole team together, we're very strong.
Thank you for that, Raina. Meanwhile, the boys at Bishop Montgomery making an unfamiliar headline. They suffered their second loss of the season in a non-league game against JW North. Stephen Thompson Jr.'s 20 points led the way in vain at the MLK Day Showcase. Of course, a frustrating loss, either a blessing or a curse, given the timing. We'll find out this week as the Knights play their league rival Sarah at home this week when Delray League games continue. Bishop's only other loss of the season came against the defending state champs Redondo. Last year, the Knights suffered just 2 losses the entire season, one in the CIF semis and another in the SoCal Regional playoffs. Okay, everybody, another story, another break. Up next, we jump up to the JUCO ranks where the El Camino Warriors are struggling to find wins. So, have they finally had enough, or is Coach Uphoff going to shake things up a little bit? You're going to find out next.
Lee Major, did you get your flu vaccine yet?
With the flu season coming up, we all have to help protect ourselves by getting the flu vaccine. If you're over 65 like me, you got to even be more careful. Our immune system may not be as strong as it used to be, so we have to do everything we can to keep the flu from catching up with us. So ask about your vaccine options, because if you're a tough guy like me, you may need a tough vaccine. Visit the National Council on Aging at ncoa.org/flu to learn more about vaccine options for people 65 and older.
Hi, I'm Chris Burke, an actor who happens to have Down syndrome. Join me in watching some great stories about inspiring people with Down syndrome.
If somebody asks me what Down syndrome is, I tell them it's just an extra chromosome in your body, and it just makes learning a little more difficult.
I just hope many people with Down syndrome can follow their dreams and the passion of what they love to do.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. I think she has more abilities than I do. Just to emit this incredible love that everybody was drawn to.
I thought his story was amazing. I thought he needed to get out there to inspire other people.
My name is Annie.
I'm a Salem Barlow.
I'm Megan.
Serena Cassibates.
And this is my
great story. My great story.
This is my great story. You can watch at ndss.org/stories.
Hey there, welcome back to the Sports Desk. As promised, we're about to check in on your El Camino Warriors. This time of year is always interesting on the Elko campus, a school with athletic programs left and right in the fall and in the spring, but come winter, things for the most part go into hibernation. Pun completely intended there, because basketball is the only game on campus this time of year, which can either be a blessing or a curse. But you can probably guess which it is when all eyes are on you by default in the middle of a 9-game losing streak. Something's got to give. Tamara Latta has that story.
El Camino just could not match Harbor's intensity and aggressiveness. The Warriors looked to get the ball in the paint but came up short against a tough physical team.
It's really frustrating. It's been a problem we've had all year long. We do have a serious lack of size, and I know from a coaching standpoint it's pretty frustrating. We keep getting the ball where we want, when we want it. It's like there's a lid in the room. We can't finish inside, and so I don't know if it's because of the lack of size we're having a hard time finishing over the bigger bodies, or if it's a concentration issue. But for whatever reason, we're just not able to finish the play down low. So.
Coach Robert Uphuff was not jovial with how well the Seahawks point guard performed on their home court.
One thing we tried to focus on, but apparently didn't do a very good job, was the defensive transition really hurt us. Brandon Boyd did a great job of pushing the ball, getting ahead to his wings run the lane. They finished plays, so kudos to them.
The Warriors did not have enough ammunition to compete with the Seahawks. They dominated in every facet of the game. Fast breaks, points in the paint, knocking down shots from three-point range. You name it, they did it. Now, despite losing 9 straight games, everyone is staying optimistic.
I still think we have an opportunity to continue to build and to continue to get some momentum. And the big challenge is whether or not our guys can rally together, stay together, and really kind of sacrifice their own selfish or self-desires for what's good for the team and for everybody.
I think anything's possible. I'm not going to quit. That's not my type of character. And however remainder of the games there are, I know we're going to come out with a good effort regardless of win and losses.
After the game, the coach held a 45-minute players-only meeting to try to figure out what was happening.
the reason it was such a long meeting is everybody has the solution, but nobody has any really answers, you know. So we felt like it was one of those opportunities where guys really had to vent some frustrations and voice some opinions, and we felt like we needed to call out certain individuals and their lack of performance or poor attitude. And so there's a lot of, you know, things said that will stay private in there that needed to be said, and I think that's how you grow, though.
Thank you for that, Tamara. Those closed-door meetings always have a way of changing the attitude in the locker room, so keep an eye out for the Warriors to see how they bounce back after hitting their breaking point. Now, the women of El Camino basketball, on the other hand, working their way through some challenges, but keeping pace with the rest of the pack. Currently ranked 14th in SoCal, carrying a 2-2 record in the South Coast Conference through the first half of January. They'll be tested by the end of this week when they host Pasadena, the second-ranked team in all of Southern California. Also, before we take off for the week, this weekend be sure to head out to Miracosta High and support our area's standout football seniors. Athletes from all the Torrance schools will be gearing up in the annual West Torrance Lions All-Star Football Game, with players from Bishop Montgomery rocking out for the blue team along with Miracosta, PV, and other South Bay schools, while All-Stars from West High, Torrance, North, and South will all be on the white team with Redondo and Narbonne, to name a few. It's the 50th annual game, and we won't be there with you because it's in Manhattan Beach, but we will have the score next week, so be sure to check it out yourself if you're looking for something to do come Saturday evening. But just because we're not going to be at this game doesn't mean we're not plugging away here on the Sports Desk. As always, you can see what we're up to by logging into Facebook and liking our Facebook page. I think my favorite update of last week was the selfie fiesta our production crew threw out at the South versus Torrance girls soccer game. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's because you obviously haven't liked our page yet. So go get on it. All right, everybody, that wraps up another week on the Sports Desk. It was great hanging with you. We'll see you next week.